morning, world.
Good morning. Well, I know you guys aren't going to believe this. I could hardly believe it myself, but we just got a news flash that a prominent member of BLM is being accused of stealing $10 million. And here, all this time, I thought they were an upright, straightforward corporation, and now this happens. You can't trust anybody nowadays.
It's not Patrice Colors.
It's not Preach Colors.
Wow.
Nope.
She just bought 3 mansions.
Right. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. So, before we get started on Cedric's fascinating story that just shocked me to my core.
Oh, they're prepared, Brian. They're prepared.
No, I'm not going to do it.
You're not?
No, we want you guys to support us. We want you guys to go on our website, cedricandbrian.com, or linked in the description. We have everything that'll take you to all of our merch, because many of our stuff, for some reason, the YouTube gods will not monetize us.
Right.
So to support our channel so that we can upgrade one day to better equipment, maybe a better looking black guy. I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
We know Cedric's the good looking one of the bunch. So get our stuff. So we have these logos.
On the back there with the flag on the back?
Yeah, flag, or we've got these new fancy Cedric and Brian faces.
Logos.
And then if you look back there, duck down, Cedric, so our old logo right there with the big Cedric and Brian. I think I still like those old ones, but we've got everything for you to choose from.
And if you guys missed our commercial, if you live in a hot place like California, or you haven't time to get your hair cut, get prepared and get some of these hats. Stay prepared. Tie it in there anyway.
All right, so what's this story about Black Lives Matter?
So this is a story that just came across the other day. An activist, and Brian's going to put his picture up there. Looks like me. An activist accuses...
He said it, not me.
It's funny if I say it. It's not funny if you say it.
Somebody called me a mountain man. I don't understand why.
You got a little bushy there. Activists accuse BLM leader Shalomya.
What?
How do you say that? Shalomya Bowers.
Shalomya. Are you sure he's not Jewish? Shalom.
No, Shalomya. Of stealing $10 million.
I see what they're doing. They're blaming the Jewish guy.
Yes. So we're going to get Mike Shapiro on here real quick. We'll read a few lines and then we'll comment on it. It says, the new leader of the National Black Lives Matter nonprofit, and they put the word siphoned in quotation, siphoned more than $10 million in fees from donations to pay his consulting firm, according to a lawsuit. But the BLM leader, Shalomya Bowers, told the Post the case against him is nothing more than a power grab by disgruntled activists trying to wrest control of the movement. So people being racist are probably accusing him of stealing money. And my question is right off the bat, where is Patrice Colors in all this?
She's already been ousted.
The OG, was she ousted or did she leave on her own?
I don't know. I don't think she's part of it. I know that.
So this guy's the new guy.
Because she already siphoned her money and bought her houses.
Yeah, so that's her retirement.
This guy wasn't smart enough to get out before he got caught.
It goes on to say, Bowers, who became head of the Black Lives Matter Global Networks Foundation in April, is accused of paying the cash to his own Bowers consulting firm and diverting resources from a new group called Black Lives Matter Grassroots Inc., or Black Lives Matter 2.0. BLM Grassroots was launched 3 months ago, and records show it claims to represent BLM chapters across the country.
I think he took a chapter out of the Clintons. You know, the Clintons Foundation, they just take their money and put it in their foundation.
Yes.
Or who's the other? Bill Gates Foundation?
Yes.
That's how rich people hide their money. They just create foundations, launder it.
My question is, and we'll go into a little bit more, why didn't our president talk this as opposed to attacking the MAGA people?
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Unity. Unity.
MAGA Republicans, as opposed to just saying Republicans, because it's only the MAGA Republicans, you know, the 74 million that voted for Donald Trump.
And you guys have heard this before. Brian and I talked about this a little bit before filming. It's one thing when a political candidate throws mud at another individual candidate, but this man attacked an entire group of people. I don't understand that.
What do you mean by group?
You people. I guess our people.
No, because according to Brandon, they're all racists, terrorists.
Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology.
Right? And
Yes.
he used those. That's where we need the Department of Justice to focus, and the FBI, not on actual threats within our country.
That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Unity. Unity.
But on people that didn't vote for him.
Yes, that's right. There's a couple bullet points. I'm sure you guys have seen this meme many times if you're on either Instagram or Facebook, but I think this came from former President Trump himself. He said the extreme MAGA agenda, and it goes through like 9 bullet points. And the first one is, if you're an extreme MAGA person, you just want secure borders. Did you see the interview with Peter Doocy and Corinne Jean-Pierre, where she said, it's not like people are just walking over here. He goes, that's exactly what's happening. Maybe Brian can show that real quick. And she was just caught in a bold-faced lie. He said, that's exactly what's happening. And all the while he's talking to her, she's like, turned to bullet points like, okay, what do I say about this? What do I say about
Did you
this?
hear what Arizona did?
What?
So they had all, I guess, these rail cars that were like stacking up in the middle of like Phoenix or something like that. And slowly you saw those rail cars disappearing. Well, what they did is they moved them to the border. That's how they finished the wall. It's a bunch of old, big containers.
Good deal.
Hey, you do what you got to do.
Yep. So they want secure borders. I was wrong with that. Extremists. They want fair elections. And I've heard people talk about this over and over again. The left will say, well, you guys want to make sure that we can't vote. We did a video about that a long time ago where like they don't want the black people to vote. It's like, no, we just want you to show up with your ID and vote once.
We don't want, yeah, exactly. We don't want people voting 1,000 times.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Or 81 million times for the president who got the most votes ever in the history of the United States.
And can't fill a high school gymnasium with his rallies. Third thing it says, we just want to be energy independent. Was it the first 5 days of Biden's term in office? He killed the Keystone Project. So now we have to go and get our oil from other places, which drives the price up automatically.
He went and he met with the king of Saudi Arabia, right? It was the king or whatever it is, Saudi Arabia. So he's got to now cozy up to these people who run these terrible regimes. Also, with the war in Ukraine, now that oil from Russia is going to China, and then we're buying it from China. So we're basically buying stuff now from two enemies.
Yes.
Because we got to go green, even though they are not going to be green.
Right. And I think we've been hearing it lately, especially the talk radio stations I listen to here in our local area in Southern California, talking about, this is the 27th day in a row that gas prices have gone down. I'll pick on me because Brian likes to pick on me because I call myself an athlete in college, but I was around 160, 165 when I was in college. But if I ballooned up to 250 pounds, but then I lost 20 pounds, I'm still way over my playing weight. And that's the same thing with the gas prices. Yeah, they've gone down, but they were so astronomically high that going down doesn't really make a big deal.
Well, they talk about the unemployment that way too.
Yeah.
When the government forced everybody out of their jobs, now that those jobs are back, they talk about the booming economy because everybody's, coming back to work. It's like, but they don't frame it that way. They say, look at what Biden has done for employment. It's like, no, people are just coming back to work.
Yes. And again, if you're an extreme MAGA, the fourth one is that you want to be tough on crime. How dare you? What is wrong with you people?
Racist.
I know. I can say you people. You can't say you people because of your races. Again, we're not too far from LA County where we live, and we know that the DA there, George Gascon, he's not tough on crime. LA is the ideal place if you want to get involved in a smash and grab, because you know there's not going to be any severe penalties. You'll get a little citation, slap you on the butt, and away you go to steal from the next place.
And why do you think these states and cities, states like California, the cities like Chicago and New York, people are leaving? It's because of the crime, because they're not tough on crime.
Yeah. Again, if you're an extreme MAGA agenda person, you want to save babies. We did a video on that. You know, whatever your opinion is your opinion. But
and you know what? There's plenty of Catholic Democrats out there that are also pro-life. So I don't know who Joe Biden was actually talking about there.
Right. You want to stop genital mutilation of kids.
That's a transgender issue, people.
Yes.
We just don't want them to be able to perform these things before they're adults. And all this stuff's coming out now in these prestigious hospitals. Off the top of my head, I can't think of them right now. But they admitted that they'll do double mastectomies on 17-year-olds, even 16-year-olds. Mm-hmm. The Epoch Times just came out with a story. Those of you who don't watch or look at the Epoch Times paper, where a former teenage transgender person, now obviously it's a she wanted to be a boy, now she wants to be a mother, and now she cannot breastfeed her children because of the hormones that they put her on.
Yes. And it's kind of old. It's been a while since we've done it. If you guys haven't seen Matt Walsh's What is a Woman, do yourself a favor. You got to watch that.
Excellent.
It's just
excellent.
It makes so much sense that it's almost funny. Yeah. The best part is watching Matt try to maintain his composure while he's talking to these people. Putting parents first. I mean, as a former teacher, I've seen so many. There is a things are supposed to operate in a certain way, and like I said, whether you're religious or you believe in God or not, there is a order in which the family unit should be. Husbands, if they're deserving of the honor, should leave the family. Your wife is a partner with you, and then your kids. But I have seen so much in the coming years where that pyramid, not to be confused with the MLL, multi-level marketing scheme, is that it's been inverted where kids basically run the show. And I've seen it so many times in so many households where kids run the show.
Well, they've been undermining the nuclear family for decades. And it's finally, they're finally getting what they wanted is they've destroyed the nuclear family. And, this has been going on since the 60s, basically, maybe even before. But what happens is when you don't have a cohesive parent group, then the kids can take over.
Right.
Especially, for those of you who know, it's hard to raise kids, especially some of them when they become teenagers, or they have what we talked about before, ODD.
Yes. Oppositional defiance disorder.
They have a name for everything now.
Yes.
But if you have, for those of you you old heads like John Majunkin out there, remember the cartoon Wait Till Your Father Gets Home?
Wait till your father gets, until your father gets, wait till your father gets home.
So, and this wouldn't happen in my household because my wife was the one who, she's the one who whipped the kids. She didn't whip them. She's the one who would get the belt out.
Here come the comments.
But back then, it was like, if the wife, especially if you had like a bigger teen boy, the wife would, if she couldn't do anything, she just said, just wait till your dad gets home. And then a dad would come home and whip the Jesus out of the kid.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen anymore because, one, they say that's child cruelty, they'll take your kids away from you. And what good is that going to do? Now, if there's, don't get me wrong, and I know people have had abusive parents. That's terrible.
Right.
Those parents should be locked away. Any parent who abuses a child should be locked away. But a spanking and abuse are two different things. And sometimes when my dad, I think he only had to spank me once my entire life. And then the threat of it was enough for the rest of my life.
Yep. My dad was a strong disciplinarian, but I think I know I got less than 5 spankings in my entire life. I deserve 15. But I only got like 5, and the rest of the times, like, you'd either give me the look and a little bit of urine would come out. And
I think we're showing we're ultra magas now.
Oh, yes, ultra magas, yes. Okay. Put parents first. In the Bible, Exodus 20, I think it's verse 4, honor your father and mother. That's it. Simple, cut and dry.
But, I'm just going to say the but again. You have alcoholic parents that abuse you.
Honor your mother and father unless they're telling you to live outside the boundaries of God's law or man's laws. then no. If your mom and dad tell you to go steal something, well, then now you have to refrain from doing that. Good point. Put parents first. This is a big one for you because you talk about a lot, school choice. That's what you ultra MAGAs want.
Yeah, and why? I still don't understand how people vote for the Democrats that are against school choice. If you're in an area where the school system's bad, and the Democrats want to say, nope, you have to go to that school because that's the district you're in. We're not going to give you your tax money to go find a charter school or something like that. I don't know how they get votes. I honestly don't. I don't know how any pro-school choice person doesn't win every election, especially in bad neighborhoods.
It's incredible.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's all our main man Larry Elder wanted when he ran for governor against Newsom. He said, I want to have school choice. Because he went to Crenshaw High School, which, if you know anything about the LA area, is not a high-ranking high school.
And obviously, I was being a little rhetorical there. We know why the Democrats do that, because they're funded by the teachers' unions. The teachers' unions, they want to keep getting paid. And they know that people will bail out of these schools if you can take your tax monies and go to a school that's good.
Yep. School choice, and hold up your little brown book. If you're an extreme MAGA person, you want to protect your constitutional rights.
MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution.
Nothing could be further from
when
the
you
truth.
if you watch shows like ours, and almost every show like ours, they'll have something that has to do with the Constitution behind them. And yes, we're conservatives because we want to conserve this. What doesn't make sense is the people that vote for Biden are the ones that actually come out and say that this is old, we need to change it, we need to get rid of it. I think it's in Chile, they want to get rid of the Constitution. I think I got that right. We want to conserve this, yet Biden comes out and says we're the ones that are against the Constitution. It doesn't make sense. You know,
doesn't make sense.
For those of you who watched the speech, for one, did you see the optics of it? I mean, look right here. It looks straight out of Star Wars or Man in the High Castle, I think it was, which was all about Nazis.
Yes, Lord Vader.
The optics of that was weird, and then I have my ultra MAGA conspiracy theory on it.
What's that?
Want to hear my ultra MAGA conspiracy theories?
Let's hear it.
Since we're ultra MAGAs.
Yes.
By the way, don't get mad at me. I didn't even vote for Trump in 2016. I did vote for him in 2020. My conspiracy is they purposefully did that because, just like January 6th, they want the ultra MAGAs to get pissed and do something stupid so they can use it against us.
Like they're hanging their hat on January 6th still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they created this divisive, horrible speech so that the more militant aspect, because there's militants on both sides. Obviously, Joe Biden forgets about the BLM riots and Antifa. Antifa is one of the worst. Antifa showed up to a drag queen story bar thing that they had in like Austin, Texas, or someplace. Antifa was out there with masks with guns. Joe doesn't see those as extremists.
Right.
Yet the people that clean up after themselves after every one of their rallies, for the most part, you know, the ultra MAGAs that are mainly peaceful, except for they bring up the few people on January 6th, and they always say, and I'm sorry, I'm going off the rails here, but I think Joe Biden actually said who harmed police.
Yes.
And January 6th.
Hundreds of police were killed.
Yeah. One person was actually killed at the insurrection, and she was a ultra MAGA person by the police.
Ashley Babbitt.
The rest of them, there's not even a clear timeline on it and how they died. I'm sorry, I try not to do this, but I watched most of the speech.
I haven't seen it yet.
They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
Hypocrisy, and we talk about hypocrisy all the time. Every bullet point that Joe was making, you could just flip that on its head, and it's what happened in 2020 and what's happened many, 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 many times before.
Yes.
From the left, not the right. The right, other than a few instances, and there are far right and there are far left, but
Yes.
what kills me is they're going to group us into far right. When I talk about far rights, I'm talking about the neo-Nazis. I'm talking about the KKK people who, you know, of course they were started as Democrats, but they're going to flip that on its head and say those are all ultra MAGAs. Ben Shapiro, really? He's an alt-right, far-right guy. Right. Dennis Prager. The reason I mention these is because these are Jewish guys. I don't think they support neo-Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
Larry Elder. I don't think he's a
Owens.
KKK guy. Oh, although he is the blackface of white.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got a little steam today. If you haven't watched the Joe Biden thing, and you don't want to watch the whole thing, just go watch Ben Shapiro's last Friday's episode.
Yes.
He highlights some of the hypocrisy of it.
It's crazy. And the last thing, if you are an extreme MAGA individual, you dirty, evil people, you have the nerve to want to put America first. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't a couple days ago, wasn't Joe passing a bill for like another $11 billion to send over to Ukraine?
Yeah, I know.
And I understand, we're America. We like to help others, but when your household is going to shambles, you can't help everybody else.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself.
Get your house together first, and then you can help others. But the fact that he's sending $11 billion more, in addition to what he's already sent, which I've lost track of, but how much that is, you don't care about your own people. And that's what people are upset about.
And then just going back to Biden's speech, I remember one of the things when he was talking about this, he says, ultra MAGA people don't want to let you love who you want to love.
No right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. What's the game going on here?
Do you support gay marriage?
No.
But of course,
Well,
they put their finger up.
You got to stir the pot. How can I stir the pot? Yes.
So it's funny how 5 minutes ago, he was for traditional marriage, and now, you're ultra MAGA if you're for traditional marriage.
Right.
It just killed me.
And in short, like Brian said, if you didn't watch the speech, go ahead and watch. I think you should watch it. I mean, you have to educate yourself and find out what's going on. But there were some statistics showing how many times he used the word ultra MAGA and Trump Republicans. It was like 13 or 14 times. But looking at this here, it says, in case you missed it, he said nothing to lower inflation, nothing to reduce crime, and nothing to secure the southern border. Everything he talked about was like, how can we make this more divisive? How can we make this, it's us against them, instead of like when he first ran, the whole unity thing that he was trying to promulgate.
I want to know what kind of drugs they pumped in him to get him up there to get that fired up, because he barely made it up and down the stairs without his wife's help.
Yeah.
And yet when he got up there, all of a sudden he turned into this demonic figure who was just yelling at everybody.
Well, I have not seen a president yet, and at first I thought it was like maybe just a loving thing between husband and wife, but every time he speaks, it's like Jill has to lead him up there, and then Jill has to slowly bring him back down. Like, okay, you're done now, honey, let's go.
Because there's stairs, and we know how he is on stairs.
As he shakes hands with the invisible person, like, there's no one there.
I know, we don't mean to be petty like that, but if you watch this speech, it'll just show you who the extremist is. And, Donald Trump, yeah, he does some over-the-top stupid tweets. He says some over-the-top stuff. But none of the stuff he says was as divisive as this, because he would go after people, right or wrong. He didn't go after the voters because he knows he's trying to get people to his side. Biden, I don't know what he think, or his writers, obviously he didn't do this. I don't know what they were thinking by being that divisive.
I don't think they were thinking. But
I'm telling you, I think it's because they want another January 6th type thing so that they can use it. Because they need to use that before the midterms and then before 24.
Right. Is it me or has... Because I know that they just had a rally for both Biden and Trump in Pennsylvania. Is it me or has Trump mellowed a little bit?
Well, hopefully he's listening to people, and says, this is the divisive president over here, Biden. Don't be that guy, because in the past he's very hyperbolic. Now, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Some of you are going to love me. Some of you are going to hate me. I don't want Trump to run in 24 for a couple reasons. One, he's just as old as Biden for the most part. So we can't use that, oh, Biden's too old to run. Trump's up there too. But two, Trump does, the thing I love about him is that he does just speak his mind, but it gets him in trouble too much, and it is divisive. I'm going to put my hat in the ring right now for Ron DeSantis. I want Ron DeSantis to run. I think he has all the same policies as Donald Trump without any of the drawback. And he handles the media great. And he's handled Florida great.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yeah.
So, I want to hear in the comments, how many of you would rather have Trump? And I know there's millions out there. And how many of you think that maybe at this point in time, DeSantis might be the better option?
I wouldn't mind having Trump again. I think, like I said earlier before Brian started talking, I think he's melded a little bit. Whoever his handlers are, whoever he counsels with, they said, hey, like Brian said, don't be so divisive. Don't be so angry. Just speak to the people. So I think he's learned that in his last go-around that he needs to do that. The age thing, it is what it is. There's a difference between my mom is 81 and she is not like Biden. She's a different 81 than Biden is. And I would love DeSantis to run, but first of all, you Floridians, you would lose your mind if we took DeSantis away from you. And I may be wrong. I think his wife is severely ill, so I don't know if he wants to step away from that to run the country. But I like them both. I'll say this: whether it's Republican, and I will be mature enough to say whether it's Democrat, I would love to see someone who's really and truly about putting America first and upholding the Constitution.
You're not going to find a Democrat.
I know it's my
the Democrats have
dream.
been taken over because even Tulsi Gabbard, I think I see her more on Fox News than anything else now, and she was a Democrat. Maybe she still considers herself a Democrat, but she makes sense most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time, and I think they pretty much kicked her out of their club.
I say Tucker Carlson for president. I love Tucker. Yeah. All right. Did you get your rant out?
Yeah, but I know you have a comment from last thing, so I don't want to take away your comment.
Well, it was more of a music comment because it was a music thing. So I don't know if it's appropriate for.
Yeah, go ahead.
Read it anyway?
Read it anyway.
Oh, geez. Okay, so it was if you guys didn't see Thursday's video, we did Tom McDonald's Castles, which we waited 2 years to do, and we finally did it.
No, we did Castles on just this past Tuesday.
Yeah, it's past Tuesday. I thought I said past Tuesday. Okay. About a year and a half ago, we did another Tom McDonald video called Church. And it had very similar to the song we just did, Castles, where he just kind of hit you in the heart and talked about feelings and things like that. And this person said, Dragonfly, said, I am a hog for life. For those of you who are watching saying, what's a hog? It stands for Hangover Gang. I don't know why that hangover. But anyway, I am a hog for life. He, meaning Tom, speaks so much truth from the eyes of addicts. His music helps me every day. So whether it's a song like Tom or whether you find yourself getting caught up in anger about what's going on in the news, I recommend turn the news off for a little bit, walk away, get outside. I know people who go through stuff like, oh, don't tell me to get outside. That's the silliest thing in the world. Turn the news off, put your phone down, stop scrolling through social media, Instagram and Facebook, and just decompress a little bit and get away from all the nonsense and get around some good friends and laugh and hang out. It'll help momentarily.
Yes.
And then go back to the news again when you're ready.
Cedric and I grew up in the last best time. When we grew up, we were always outside. Our playground was either our front yard or the street. We'd play, pick up football in the street, or we'd go to a park. We were always outside. And your parents, usually 2-parent household, and the mom ran that part of it. She said, you better get in here before it gets the street lights come on. But we spent our time interacting with other people, playing and exercising constantly.
Right.
Now, generation now, unfortunately, and we both have kids, and we're thankful they've turned out so well, but they spend a lot of time sitting in chairs staring at computers or their phone.
Yes, true that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. We are getting back. I know we did like 3 music reviews in a row, so we're going to slowly get back into talking about things that are going on with culture and with family and things that are going on in the news. But we do appreciate you guys. Again, to reiterate, hope you guys had a fantastic 3-day Labor Day weekend, spending time with family and friends, like Brian said, being outside and enjoying the sun and the water. But we appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, and continue sharing our channel with everyone you know. And keep on being a MAGA incredible person. I said MAGA incredible person. Nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with making America great again? I forgot to touch on that. Think about the word MAGA. You're not gonna say anything? Just make America great again. Anyway, until next time, I'm Cedric.
I'm Brian. We'll see you later.
What's wrong with that?
I just wanted to leave it hanging there.